Hi guys, it's Tanya from Impact Physiotherapy again. Today's workout is for people that have maybe been isolated for a while during this current situation and haven't been able to get out about as much as they would have liked, particularly the older population. So these exercises are based around a table and a chair using light weights in terms of tin cans. These are about 400 grams, so something nice and light but still functional that reduces the risk of hurting yourself. But not only for our older population, but also those that may be recovering from surgery or are suffering quite a bit of fatigue or deconditioning. This is just really a lovely exercise that works all the joints in your body and works on creating some really nice strength without overloading the body. So in terms of safety, we're looking at a well-lit space with no things on the floor that you can trip over. You want to be in loose, comfortable clothing, have some water on hand, and none of these exercises should make you feel dizzy or nauseous or really make your heart go super fast. And if you have any concerns, always just consult your doctor first. So the weights that I'll be using, like I said, are just tins from the pantry. You don't have to use weights at all. You could use weights for most of these exercises or none at all. I'll be showing the weights being used intermittently, but you do as you see fit. So we're going to start just with sitting down, so without the weights to start with, and just working on some really nice shoulder rolls. So we're trying to just wake the body up, tell the body that we're going to be, doing some nice movements and getting the blood flowing. You also want to take this time to think about your breath and about trying to relax your body. So getting rid of unnecessary tension. Let's go back for 3, 2, and 1. And now we're going to roll our shoulders forward. So really trying to create these really beautiful circles with our shoulders, drawing the shoulder blades back, then lifting the shoulders up and around. Let's go for 3, 2, and 1. And now we're going to aim to just very gently swing our arms up and down. And you may not get this far, that's totally fine, but just working on some really nice pendulum movement. Think about lengthening the fingertips up towards the ceiling and down towards the ground without letting your whole body get into the movement. So try and allow the arms to really swing freely around a nicely relaxed body and trunk and torso. So we're just going to do a couple more of these on each side, and last one on each side. Beautiful. So I'm going to grab the weights for this next exercise, but you don't have to. So elbows tucked in our sides, whoops, without hitting your table. Elbows gently tucked in. We're going to be drawing those weights up towards our shoulders without letting our elbows move away from our body, and then gently bringing the arms back down. So I'm doing this seated. You can do it standing if you would like, and that's the way we want the movement to look. So again, reducing any sway in our body. So we're going to do another 5, smooth and controlled, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Well done. So now making the movement a little bit higher intensity and a little bit more higher functioning. We're going to go into some nice shoulder press. So we're going to have our palms facing forwards, a nice comfortable grip around the weight, so not gripping onto them too heavily. We're going to breathe out as we press the weights up to the ceiling, lengthening through our arms. And as we breathe in, we're drawing the arms down till our elbows come in line with our shoulders. You don't want to come all the way down. We're going to start and finish at a position where your elbows are roughly at 90 degrees. So we ideally want to breathe out as the weights go up and breathe in as the weights come down. Keeping your lower back nice and relaxed, your body nice and long but not rigid. If you find the double movement too hard, again, you can take the weights away, or you could do single arm at a time. Again, depends on how your neck feels as well. We're going to go back to the doubles. We're going to do 5 more. So that's 1 and 2, 3, 4, and 5. Well done. So what we're going to do now is work on, again, a functional move, but we're adding in some cross body movement. So we're going to alternate between turning our palms up to the ceiling, lengthening our fingertips up and out and diagonal away from our bodies. And as our arms come back down, we're going to allow each arm to cross to the outside of the opposite thigh. So we're creating this really nice movement here. And again, it's that really nice functional movement where we combine rotation and flexion and extension and different types of movements, which is what we're going to come across in our day-to-day life. So we're going to go for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful. So what we're going to do now is give the arms a bit of a break. I'm going to just bring this down a little bit so you can see what we're doing a little bit better. And we're going to now work on our legs. So we're just going to do some really gentle marching up and down in our chair. Now again, this can be a nice exercise to do, at a right time post-op, say hip replacement, or in terms of if you've been suffering from some leg weakness. But it is a bit of a tricky one to do when you're sitting, and you might be only able to lift your foot up that much off the ground. That's totally fine. You just want to feel though that you don't tense your whole body as you do the slow marching, and that you don't feel like your whole body has to sway back in order to lift the leg. Just lift your feet off the ground, drawing your knees up towards your chest, alternating left and right, as much as you comfortably can. So it doesn't have to be a really massive movement, but you do want to feel like it's not, irritating your back or the front of your hips. So we're going to go for 5 and 4, 3 and 2 and 1. Fantastic. So what we're going to do now is work on a little bit more of our quad strength, and we're going to now extend each leg out in front of us. So straightening the knee, pushing the foot out as if you're trying to push something away from you, but again, not allowing the rest of the body to feel that movement in a negative way. So breathing out as you press away and breathing in to come in. So we're trying to build up the strength in those quads. Breathing out through that movement. Good. Keep alternating if you can. And we're going to go 5 more on each side. Excellent. And we're going to do 2 more on each side. And 1 more on each side. Excellent. So what we're going to look at now is a really nice functional move using our arms, and it's the movement we do when we're trying to hop off the chair. So if we find our legs are sore or stiff, or we've got achy knees or achy hips or back, we will use our arms to help us rise up out of the chair, particularly if the chair's low as well. We won't always have armrests available or like a bar on the wall near us, so we need to try and maintain strength in our arms and our lats in order to push down through. So this move here is just you placing your hands either side of your chair and breathing out as you press down and breathing in to come down. Now, as you can see, I'm just gently lifting my thighs and my bottom off the chair as much as I can. And again, you can see that from the side position. I'm really making my arms do most of the work. So getting that nice elbow extension, nice work through the lats and the triceps, and allow good weight bearing through your wrists as well, because as we know, as we get older, weight bearing exercises are extremely important. Let's go another 5 and 4, 3, 2 and 1. Well done. So we're going to go back to our hips now and our legs, and we're going to perform a movement that's really good again for functional tasks like getting in and out of a car. So you can have your arms across your chest, and we're going to alternate sweeping one leg up and out to the side. So as if you're about to get out of the car. So this involves really nice use of your hips and allowing them to really mobilize. go for 5 and 4 and 3, 2 and 1. Fantastic. So coming in towards the table, we're going to use the table as a bench line or a benchmark for our next movement. So what we're going to do is we're going to reach forward, both hands together, press the arms out and away in a breaststroke motion, and then come back where our fingertips are just resting comfortably on the edge of the chair. So you're going to breathe out as you press away, sweep the arms out and around, and come back to that start position. If you have your weights, like we've said, you then can perform the movement with your arms floating above the table. So a little bit more strength and control involved in the shoulder girdle. And again, it's a really nice functional movement where you might be required to reach out and grab something. You want to know you've got the range available and the strength to use your arms in that longer lever position. So again, we're opening up the chest. As we pull the arms and the weights down and back, we're squeezing the shoulder blades gently together. And definitely let your body rock forwards and backwards from the hips. And we're making sure we're adding in that really nice breath. And let's go for 3 more. And last one. Fantastic. Placing the weights to the side, but you can continue to hold on to them if you wanted to for this next exercise. Just placing the chair back a little bit away from the table. Arms across the chest. We're going to breathe out as we stand up. And we're going to breathe in as we slowly lower down. So I've got my legs hip width apart, my feet roughly flat on the ground. And as I come forward, you want to think about bringing your nose over your toes, pushing down through your feet, squeezing your legs and tucking your bottom underneath you. And then as you lower yourself down, let the hips and knees bend, let your bottom drop back and a slow controlled drop. Because what tends to happen as our legs lose strength, we lose the capacity to drop and sit down nice and slowly. So that's why this particular movement isn't about speed, it's about control. So in this case, you want to count for about 3, 2 and 1 to lower, and 3, 2 and 1 to stand. And so we're going to go for another 5 and slow control down. 4, 3, slow control down. And last one. Fabulous. And again, like I said, you could have done that with the weights, just holding them in towards you. We're going to get our chair now. I'm going to come back a bit so you can see me a bit more. And we're going to gently have our fingertips resting on the chair, and we're going to do some nice high marching. So again, this is really great to get the most out of our hips in terms of range. You want to try and keep the top of your hips nice and square. So if I was doing this facing you guys, the level of my hips should be the same the whole time. So we're trying to avoid any leaning over to the sides. The top of your shoulders are nice and relaxed, and you want to keep your back nice and still as well. Not rigid, but still. Breathing out as you go. And this can be at a nice pace. This one doesn't have to be too slow. And if you feel that your balance can handle it, you can hold on to the weights as you march, and even add in some nice alternate arm punches. So when you're lifting your right knee up, you're pressing forward with your left hand, and vice versa. Otherwise, the low impact option is just hands resting back on the chair. We're going to do another 10 more on each side. So that's 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All done. So now, placing our hands back onto the chair, we're going to do some nice leg swings out to the side. And again, placing that chair out in front of me so you guys can see what I'm doing. I'm going to just gently swing that leg in and out. So I'm going to stay on one leg, just trying to build up some nice fatigue on the one side. And again, as you can see, my shoulders, my ribs and my hips are staying really nicely stacked on top of each other. And you want to try and avoid any leaning to the side, because that means then that the muscles and the joint that we're trying to mobilise and strengthen might be struggling a bit. So just work within the range that you feel like you've got available to keep the movement of really good quality. So I'm going to go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then over to our other side. So reset the body, light fingers, purely for balance. Again, make sure you've got enough space and enough safety around the ground. So if you were to lose your balance, you've got something to hold on to. Again, if you felt that you could do this movement without holding on to anything. Challenges your balance a lot more, but we will need to ensure that that's done safely. So you don't want to feel like if you do this without holding on, your quality of movement is really reduced and you're struggling with your balance. Let's go another 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Well done. So now, hands back on the chair, legs out nice and wide. We're going to drop down into what we call a sumo squat. So instead of our feet being hip width apart, they're going to be shoulder width apart, or even a little bit wider. Our feet can be slightly turned out, and we're going to drop relatively low. You can still keep your bottom above your knees, because the lower you go, the more load potentially you're going to place on your joints to come back up again if your muscles aren't quite up to the challenge. You can see as I'm squatting down, I'm letting my elbows just gently bend. And as I come up, my elbows are just passively straight in there. Your hands are there again for balance. If you find that you're pushing yourself up with your arms, you're probably going a little bit low. And the pace I'm going at, as you can hear from my voice, is enough to get the heart and lungs going, but you need to do a pace that's comfortable for you. So we're going to go another 10. Breathing out on the up. Well done. So grabbing our weights again, or just doing it with body weight, body resistance if you want to. We're going to hold our little weights, elbows in at your sides, and we're just rotating those arms in and out, keeping the elbows tucked in at your sides and rotating the arms in and out like they're doors or gates opening and closing. So you don't want to sweep the arms out for this particular movement. And as you open up your hands away from each other, think about gently squeezing your shoulder blades down and back together. Again, if you look at this movement from the side, you want to avoid any swaying or any poking forward of your chin. You want everything else to stay relatively well aligned. Well done. So what we're going to do now is really focus on our balancing. So I'm going to lift one foot off the ground, arms ideally across our chest, and that chair or that couch is there for your safety. So you want to do this where you feel that if you were to lose your balance, you've got something to brace onto. So what we class as normal is 30 seconds, eyes open, balancing. The leg you're balancing on, that knee should be softly bent, so you shouldn't be locked, and you shouldn't be feeling like you're holding your breath or tensing your body. You should feel that when you're balancing, it's challenging and it's hard work, but you're not tensing every fibre of your body. You should be able to relax into it with the arms across the chest. And you'll feel your foot and your ankle really working and really moving. That's totally fine and normal. You might find you can last 2 seconds to start with. Again, that's totally fine. You want to build up. Balance is something that you need to work on every day to improve. You can do it at the kitchen bench while you're waiting for the kettle to boil or whilst you're brushing your teeth. The main thing is don't practice on any one side for more than a minute or so, because it can be quite loading and fatiguing for the body. So I have already swapped over, as you can see there. And again, just working within your limit. If you've got ankle or knee pain, just listen to your body with that one. Beautiful. So we're going to finish with some prancing now, which is where we're trying to really warm up and mobilize the ankles and the knees and the toes and the feet. Because if you've got stiff or rigid feet, your balance can be restricted. You can place more jarring force when you walk and then more load on your hips and knees. So you want to try and get all the blood flow circulating there and get everything moving nicely. Side on, you can see me alternating between popping my knee forward and pressing down through the base of my toes, and then dropping my heel down on the other leg and straightening that knee. So just a really nice alternating bouncing movement. Again, this can make you feel a bit wobbly. Pop your hands down if you feel you need to. And it's just a really nice way. It also works the calf muscles really well. Just a really nice way to again get the blood flowing. And then we're going to finish with some side bending to the left and right. So with this particular move, I want you to push your hip out towards, say, the left when you stretch your left arm up and over to the right. And when you stretch over to the left, press your hip out to the right. So stretching the hand to one direction whilst pushing the hip out to the opposite direction. Well done. Great. I hope you guys enjoyed that workout. Again, relatively quick and easy. Few variations there with or without weights, challenging your balance by either holding onto the chair or stepping away from it. Just make sure you feel safe, the space is well lit, you have water available, and if you have any queries or concerns, you get clearance from your doctor. But otherwise, happy exercising, stay safe, stay well, and we will see you guys soon.